Welcome to week 4 of caring for my tomato and pepper seedlings for the upcoming gardening season. Please watch this video in its entirety because I made some boo-boos and my plants have suffered, but we can learn together from my mistakes and hopefully rectify the situation. So let's get started and see what happened. These seeds were sown on March 1st and March 2nd. They will be 4 weeks old Friday and Saturday. Today's Thursday, so almost 4 weeks. I've got my big old giant tray of soil here, and we're going to add water until it's nice and moist, but not... Oh. So about 10 of these 3-ounce plastic bathroom cups you can stack to drill at one time to save yourself a little bit of extra time. Switched over to using a gallon pitcher for the water, and I'm thinking maybe I might have added too much water. So I'm going to keep stirring this and then just see if we need to add more seed starting soil or potting mix. I would prefer to pot up with potting mix at this point, but I had bought way too many bags of this, my favorite seed starting soil. So I'm just going to use that and fertilize a little bit more often, depending on what the plants tell me they need. This is definitely way too wet. So we are going to add at least a half a bag. See if we can get this more appropriate for our poor little tomatoes. You do not want them sitting with their roots completely damp. They actually like to dry out a little bit between waterings. And remember, we're bottom watering only at this point. So let's add some more soil and see if we can get this looking a little bit better. Okay, this is much better. See, it looks like a really, really dry, kind of thick brownie batter. And if you take your hand and grab some, you can form it. A little water will still come out, but then it's kind of retains its shape a little bit. So this I am fine to go ahead and start putting into our cups and get our seedlings up potted. We're going to start with the Granny Cantrell, which is right here. You can see I block sowed them when I first put the seeds into the soil on the 1st of March. And now it's time to up pot them into a little bit bigger space. And I want to bury them deep. So I'm only going to put just a wee bit of soil down at the bottom. Remember, there are holes all in the cups. And then I'm going to pick one of these guys out and we're going to get him tucked in. So let's just pick one of these little guys. You can see the soil is still relatively moist. So I'm just kind of wiggling a space around this little seedling. And I'm going to bring him up. You can see the roots. Let me give you a good example. You can see the roots. And we're going to pinch off these cotyledon leaves because we don't really need those anymore. All the nutrition that was in these guys has been spent. And we're going to stick him way down in here. And then we're just going to backfill. We're not going to compact it like forcefully down, but just gently kind of maneuver the soil around the stem of the plant. But don't compact it completely, just gently tuck it in. And when I'm almost kind of to the top of where I want to be, I'm going to put a little pinch of some earthworm castings. It's a brand new bag I just opened. And then we're going to finish off this guy. And I'm going to go just below his leaves with the soil level. There we go. You can see he's in his own little house now. He's going to be super happy. And he's got his little boost of nutrition from the worm casting. And then here in a few minutes, when we finish all of our tomato seedlings, everyone's going to get fertilized for the first time. Got all of the Granny Cantrell up potted, and I did clean off the outside of the cups, but I did not water them because this soil is plenty moist. And when we complete the tray, I'm going to give each of these guys just a wee bit of the liquid fertilizer, and we'll talk about that in a minute. But for now, we're going to get busy potting up the Mountain Princess. And this is a determinate plant, so it will grow to a set height and then produce most of its fruit within a 2-week period and then putter out. So there's some debate about, should you bury your determinate plants deeply like you would an indeterminate like the Granny Cantrell? What I'm going to do is what I've always been doing, is I treat them all the same. However, when I get ready to put this guy into the ground outside, I may not bury it as deeply as I would an indeterminate. But for now, I'm going to bury above where those condyline leaves are coming off. And I'm going to pinch them. And then I'm going to prepare one of my cups, just like we did earlier. And then I'm going to bury it to about right there. These guys smell so good. I wish you guys could smell them. All of the Mountain Princes are up potted now, but look at this cute little tiny Tim. So he is a micro dwarf. You can see he still has a nice sturdy little stalk. I'm probably not going to bury him as deeply as I did the indeterminate and the determinate. Maybe just like half an inch deep, maybe 3/4. Now when I plant him out into my green stock, these are going to be my green stock tomatoes. I'm barely going to bury him deep. I'm not going to bury him super deep. Since he does have a determined height and production. Potted 5 of the new big dwarfs. You can see I didn't bury them quite as deep. These guys don't get very big, about 2 feet. So what I'm going to do now that we have this completely full tray, I'm going to give each cup, each plant, about a teaspoon of this half strength diluted liquid fertilizer. It's I think natural organic brand, very mild, not super strong, so I should do this in order instead of randomly just picking. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. I'm going to give just under, or add a teaspoon per cup, and get these guys fed. And here they are tucked in under their lights. They will go out when it's nice out. It's been kind of chilly, so they haven't got to go out much this week. And when I do start bringing them back out again, I will slowly reintroduce going out into the sun and wind, since they've been kind of sheltered for the past week or so. We've had quite a few cool days. So I'll pop back in here and talk to you guys again in about 2 to 3 days, and we'll take a look and see the difference. In the meantime, I'm going to continue up potting. I've got a lot of guys to get up potted. See you soon. By Saturday, I knew something was up with some of my plants. I thought I had dampening off over the weekend, but by Sunday evening, I thought I have something else going on. So here we are on Monday. I've got every tray outside, and I'm going to figure out what is going on with these poor seedlings. And some look great, like these eggplants. Some are looking really rough. And so I went through a few different ideas of what was going on. Could it have been the worm casting? Could it have been damping off, something at the soil level? You can see that poor guy there. And then as I started to assess and really think about how the plants are treated in the last 3 to 4 days, I think what I did was I did dilute that fertilizer at half strength. However, it did look so rich. I don't know if you saw in the video, it still looked really, really rich. And I should not have applied it directly into the cups. I should have bottom fertilized the plants. So my working theory at this point is that I burnt the plants, over fertilized, and should not have directly applied that into the cup near the root and the stem. And you can see some of the other guys are struggling in their leaves. You see how they're kind of yellowy, and they look like they're actually hungry, but they're actually not. They're over fertilized and the leaves are a little burnt at this point. So you can see some of these seedlings that didn't make it, they just kind of completely disintegrated. So what I'm going to do at this point, and I could be wrong, I mean, this is just my working theory at this point. I'm going to flush these trays. I'm going to pour rainwater and just flush these plants and try to get some of that fertilizer out of the soil. Look at this poor little one. And it wasn't like true damping off. I've had that before. Some of these, like this one, I think I'm getting ready to show you. No, it wasn't that one. It's a different one. That one does kind of act more like damping off. But some of them, the roots were still really strong, and they didn't even want to come out. It was just that they had damage. I have a good example coming up here in a little bit. I think it's some pictures I took where the plant is still intact, and I pull down the soil all the way, and you can see that there's actually like just a burning or like a open wound on the stem as it goes down through the soil and then down by the roots. So this is the same fertilizer. I went and I added about 2 more cups to make it more diluted, and that is probably more of the color I should have had when I began fertilizing a few days ago. You want your fertilizer really weak when you're watering, and you do want to do it from the bottom. I should have never done that. I don't even know why I did that. I did it because the cups were so moist with the soil. It felt so damp in there already. I thought, I don't want to bottom water today. I don't want these roots sitting in really wet soil. And that's why I put the fertilizer on the top inside of the cup. I should not have done that. Here is the plant I was talking about. You can see it's like a little chunk just removed from the outer stem coating. So I'm actually keeping him as an experiment. I'm going to put that soil back around him and see if he recovers and continues to grow at this point. So in total, I lost about 10 seedlings. I may lose more. I may not. I'm hoping the flushing with the rainwater will help. Only time will tell. I do think I'll be okay. I don't think I'll lose many more, maybe another 5 or 10. But I think overall these guys are going to recover. And so the next video for week 5 update, I'm going to show you how they're doing and what steps I'm taking for my seedlings at week 5. You can see every week there's always a new problem and a new something to deal with. And every year seems different. It's like every year I'm learning more and I'm having new problems. But you can see, look at these guys. They look great. Look at these roots hanging out the bottom. And these guys got fertilizer as well, but they were a little farther along, a little bigger, because they had been up potted about a week before I did the fertilization. All right, guys. Well, I hope you're having a great gardening week, and you will come back for week 5 and see how all of my little babies did, and if I'm going to have a plant sale or not, or if I'm even going to have a garden this summer. No, I'm just joking. I will. I know that they will recover and everything will be fine. And this is why you overplant. This is why you plant way more than you